Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inter's Racing League once again for day 3 of pre-season testing here for the Hungaroring in Hungary, and season 8 once again slowly but surely approaching ever so sooner. And we start, of course, tonight for more action in the more eastern side of Europe, a little bit south as well. And we go down to Hungary. As you can see on the screen, we are here in preseason testing, and these 10 people represent the people who will drive for us. Well, of course, they choose the people driving, but they get to select the 2 people who drive for their teams. They are the team principals for season 8. From Red Bull down to Williams, it goes all the way to the very end of pre-season before we reach draft night for the final selections. I am not alone in the commentary box this evening. I am joined by the lovely and talented legend himself, Battlecat. How are we on this fantastic evening of more action, third day in a row?
Yeah, third day in a row here at Hungary this time around. We're kicking off Sunday afternoon with another race here. So just having a look at the people that are checked in. We've still got a few people yet to come into the lobby. I know there was a fair few people that were interested, but we're not seeing that many people check in. But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing some of these drivers have a go around Hungary, see what they can do, and how they can impress the team principals.
Absolutely. We've had some fantastic, magical, madness at the same time moments, my apologies. And talking about those moments, let's get into Jeddah for round 2, because let me tell you, what a race that was. Unfortunately, you weren't in the commentary box that time round, Cat. That was me and Scotty going through that one. But what an incredible race by one man who ended up winning, and that was STR or SFR Finn, sorry, who in the kick Sauber went from P17 to P1. He picked up driver of the day. He picked up the win, had no penalties against his name. He had a clean record that race, and that was truly a great performance. And as you can see on the screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, those team principals will be taking note of performances like that, just how Finn's delivered in the kick Sauber. P2 was the Williams of Chilpill, who once again went 5 positions higher and just kept his nose clean that race. And on debut, the Ferrari of Chandler's, also known as Alex, or Caleb, sorry, allowed himself the opportunity to get onto the podium. I think I may have messed up his name twice. Either way, Lord Mahavir, of course, another competitive driver on the grid that we've seen on multiple different occasions, ended up finishing P4 after picking up plenty of penalties in his name, and 9 seconds to be exact. So that was a bit more of the carnage that kind of ensued in Jeddah, and there was plenty of it. A few VSCs to go around, but plenty of magical moments in terms of positions gained and surprising podiums and victories.
Yeah, Saudi is one for track limits, especially that first section of the track. It's really easy to invalidate. I did watch it back, so I wasn't actually in the comms box, but I did watch some of the races. There was some great qualifying. I think Cam actually qualified pretty well, but then I think someone lost it in front of him, and he had an incident. And then there was some fighting up ahead towards the front with the fast guys, and Finn's just kept it clean, held back, and took home the win. So yeah, well done to Finns.
And I think it's been quite unlucky for GLX Cam as well. On his side, when going into round 1 in Bahrain, he got off the line, barely moved, and was immediately disqualified from the session. So, of course, very unfortunate on his side for Bahrain. But then, of course, going into Saudi, less of his fault, let's be honest, but got into a bit of a tussle, unfortunately picked up front wing damage, and saw himself retire quite early on in the race. So, in terms of Cam, it's quite important for him to actually finish a race. I know it sounds, a bit harsh, but he's retired in both races that we've had for the beginning of preseason testing. And if there's one thing that you need going into preseason testing, it's results, it's good performance. You need to be able to showcase your ability to team principals. And if you're not able to do that effectively, they're not going to pick you up, and you may see yourself on the sidelines for the season. So Cam will be wanting a very good result in Hungary this evening, and will be looking to deliver just on that note.
Yeah, Cam can race. Like I said, he's had a bit of bad luck. I think I saw the incident last night. It wasn't his fault at all. So, you know, it's pre-season. Like I said, things can happen, and that's why it's important for a TP. That's why I like sitting in the comms box. I like seeing what people are doing. The results don't necessarily show what the driver's got. You know, like they could be trying different assists or just got in an unlucky situation. But yeah, it's looking a little bit deeper into that driver, what they can offer, and their attitude, and just making sure they can bring home some points.
Absolutely. Well, we've just got a slight delay, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 11 out of the supposedly 20 people in the grid this evening. So please bear with us. There is a little bit of a wait, but then we will get into qualifying action and present you with the best of the best in Inter's Racing League. But I guess we can talk a little bit more about Hungary. Tight and challenging, Kat.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm just having a look at these invites here, just seeing what's going on because yeah, we're a bit short. I'm not sure if we've got some technical issues, but yeah, Hungary. It's Monaco without the walls. Really hard to overtake. Low downforce. I do enjoy it actually, especially that second half of the track, the tight turns. But it is a bit of a pain to overtake. So yeah, bit of a double-edged sword this track.
No, absolutely. Of course, going into this weekend, as you can currently see on the screen, is the calendar. It is the 12th of January, and there, of course, means the end of week one with Hungary to finish us off. But don't obviously think we're done there, as you can clearly see. Going into week two, another additional 3 circuits of racing action packed to the absolute brim, with the 17th, 18th, and 19th of January having Zandvoort, the Kota in Texas, and Silverstone, before eventually week three revealing the official calendar for season 8. And then we get into Mexico and Qatar and finish with the draft show, which will decide and depict who will be in what seat for season 8. And that will be for all tiers, not just specifically tier 1. And
Yeah, so just
clearly,
trying to find out what's happening here. Apollo's typing. No one is telling me if they need invites. Oh,
yep.
mate. Yeah.
So clearly just a bit of a difficulty on in terms of getting people into the lobby at the moment. We do appreciate everyone who is being patient in the Twitch chat. Of course, we apologize for the wait. We are 14 minutes in and we're not currently into qualifying, so we do apologize for that. Delays do happen. So let's get into a bit more information about Hungary, because of course the calendar jam-packed, plenty of action to go ahead. But tonight is the Hungaroring. We are in Hungary and we are ready to go racing. So what do we have in store for you? Well, pretty simple. It is a circuit length of 4.381 kilometers. It is number of laps for 50% distance, which is of course tonight 35. So it should be a nice lengthy one for us this evening. Plenty of opportunity for team principals to review and have a good old look at what drivers have on display for this evening. Corners, we have 14 in total. That's the technicality coming into display. Even though it is quite a long circuit in terms of lap times, there's not many corners. It's more or less just how they've designed the corners. They're all very low speed, they're all very technical, and therefore costing a bit more time by the time you reach the timing line. In total, 14 corners, 6 to the left, 8 to the right. So pretty balanced. It's a very fun circuit to drive on, but difficult at the same time if you're going to consider track limits. So, pole position starts on the left-hand side of the track. That is where the rubber will be found. On any other part of the track that is considered the right-hand side, you'll find rubber marbles. You'll find a lot more, dirtiness on the circuit, and usually that's where tire deg will be a little bit higher as well. There is only a single DRS detection zone that is down the pit straight. However, you pick it up once again out of the exit of turn 1. You get the momentum, you're able to potentially get a move going into turn 2, which rounds off before going into turn 3. The pit limit line is a speed of 80 kilometers per hour, so still carrying a solid amount of speed and quite a short pit lane in general. You also have a very nice entrance into the pit lane as you round off that final corner. So plenty of action for the drivers ahead, plenty of entertainment for you viewers at home, and we are getting closer and closer, and slowly but surely we will be moments away. And clearly, just on Cat's side, just trying to sort the invites out and get drivers into the lobby. It is just taking a little bit of time, of course, but we are getting there slowly but surely, ladies and gentlemen. Do promise you on that one. For the tyres for Hungary, we have the C3s, the C4s, and the C5 compounds. So we are going down the softest in the Pirelli range, right over to the right-hand side. C3s being the hard, C4s being the mediums, and C5s being the soft compounder tyres, which means deg would be, let's say, pretty high. I don't expect many people to go onto the soft compounder tyres, especially with it being 35 laps. The C5s will degrade away quite quickly, and especially with the technicality, it will mean that you'll be, rotating a bit more, using the handling of the car a little bit more, and relying on the grip of the tyres a little bit more as well. So usually can cause an increase in the amount of degradation we will see this evening. But I see we're ticking down to 10 seconds, slightly smaller lobby than expected is what it is. And Kat, are we ready for qualifying?
Yep, already I've given it the green flag. So anyone else that needs an invite, I'll keep an eye out on the chat and see if I can send one through. But I think we better off just get going and let's just get this race on.
No, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've been waiting with absolute patience and hope that we will be getting in soon enough, and now we finally do. So, buckle up, we're going to switch over to the race and quali screen, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Getting into short qualifying for Hungary, which is 18 minutes of jam-packed action and plenty of competitive drivers looking to race at the highest level available to us. Now, of course, only 14 people in the lobby this evening, which will actually make it a little bit easier for team principals to have a look at certain drivers if that was what they were trying to pinpoint. So it should be an interesting one ahead. Of course, a few drivers missing out, but getting into it in 5 seconds time. So, who do we think's going to be on pole position this evening, Kat?
Let me look at the names here. I think Mighty Wombat's actually one that's impressed. I think he's got some pace. Um, can't probably go past Yusuf and Farmer Sam. So, look, I think looking at the pace, I'm going to put my money on Farmer Sam.
Sam. You know what? Fair play. He had a fantastic race, of course, in Saudi Arabia. He did get a little bit tussly with one Lord Mahavir, and it did see him end up finishing a little bit lower than where he should have. And on paper, looks like he didn't perform quite well. He actually had a fantastic race. It just got a bit too scrappy around Saudi Arabia. I'm sure, of course, the adrenaline high and lots of incredibly big moves being made, I think is a word to use. Some were probably better saved for later in the circuit, but went for it anyway.
Yeah, like I said, sometimes these drivers they want to impress, and by doing that, they may do the wrong thing. So let's see how they go tonight. For me, like I said in the past, it's more about just thinking about the race, keeping it clean, not doing anything silly. We've already had someone disconnect, so Kotzi. So let me see if I can send him a message or an invite again, get him
Well,
back in
I
again.
don't actually know if he's disconnected, because if he disconnected, he wouldn't have retired. So I believe he's actually made the decision to retire from the
Yeah,
session and therefore
true,
start the
true.
race from dead last. So clearly going for a bit more of a last to first and decide to do a bit more of a challenging race for the Haas driver. Clearly, potentially has some pace he wants to show on board, go through the field. It's not easy to do around Hungary, of course, considered Monaco without the walls because of its track limits and tight nature. It's not going to make it easy for overtaking unless you're going down the pit straight out of the exit of turn one.
Yeah, I think Cam is the first driver on his flyer. Um, He's sitting in the checkered, in the racing bull. You know, maybe he's trying to impress a particular TP. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's a bit odd to see Cam there in that blue car. Definitely better suited in the red, I think.
In the Ferrari. I just wonder, really pondering who that Ferrari team principal is. I have no clue, ladies and gentlemen. Really none. It's definitely not someone sitting right next to me in the comms box at all. GLX Cam, however, looking to potentially impress Checkered Flag, of course, in P3, in the V car, the red, white, and blue car, which I will say has quite an impressive livery. Much better than, let's say, the Alpha Tauri with the red sponsor they were running. I will argue that Alpha Tauri had a great livery throughout 2021, 2020, even 2022, but when they introduced that Orlan sponsor, it just looked incorrect. But yeah, Cam coming back into the pit lane.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the red and the blue. Um, the AlphaTauri definitely. I did like that livery. I like the kick. I don't know. People don't like the green, but I really like the green and the black. Um, and I think we'll probably see that change next year. But yeah, look, if I've got to pick, I think the McLaren's one that's really nice. I like the kick as well. And yeah, of course, the Ferrari can't go past that.
We've had a few people on their lap times. Mighty Wombat, who we saw was blisteringly quick in Saudi Arabia, setting down a 1:14.977, so already into the 14s. Jetman in P2 and the Williams with a 15.456 before being beaten out by the Williams of Chilpill, a 14.834, and now takes provisional pole away from the Mercedes driver. So a different lineup of competitive drivers on display. Of course, Mighty Wombat was the one to really go up against Lord Mahavir in qualifying, and a few other names that was really trying to poke their head out the window. Lil Sheldon continuing on with his lap time, going into the final corner and across the line. It will be a 15.426. Goes P3 on the board. Not bad from the Alpine, and Quiet K continuing along in the kick Sauber.
Yeah, just checking out the invites. I know Kotzi's got an issue with his console, so he won't be joining. So we'll have I think we'll have an AI car on the grid when we start. Probably get disqualified pretty quickly, but hopefully they'll be at the back of the grid and not getting in anyone's way.
Fortunate for the Haas driver, who may or may not have a potential AI on the car, as you mentioned, potentially be disqualified and not run through. We have the kick sour, but coming across the line, Quiet Kate goes P5 with a 1:15.479. Not bad from him to get him started in a good position. Good playing field, of course. P12 of Yusuf Goat continuing on through the first sector. Now, of course, the fastest time so far is a 14.834, and Yusuf Goat will be looking to just be as competitive as we usually see him in Inter's qualifying sessions. A bit over the white line, and he does invalidate, however. He did go purple in the first sector at 14 hundredths of a second quicker compared to Chilpill in that first sector. So it is unfortunate, but he will have to reset, recharge that battery, and go again unless he may come back into the pit lane.
Let's have a look. What's his fuel load like? Can't really tell here, but let me jump on board with him. It's not flashing, so yeah, but his battery's low, so may not have enough fuel.
Well, in terms of batteries on 41%, and he
In.
does make the decision to come back into the pit lane. So Mercedes not continuing on and getting a bit weavy on the curbs there, but slowing down as the car resets back into the pit lane. Cam, once again, he invalidated last time out, so actually not necessarily on his fast lap, however. Mighty Wombat with a 14.637 in the Mercedes. That surprises me. Look, he's on the C5 soft compound tyres, which, let's be honest, is, pretty degradate-y. It's not great for long stints. And he's done a 14.637 on 3-lap old soft compound tyres.
Yeah, he's just hooked it up. This is the thing for me. I find I improve on the second lap. I don't know if it's the consistency or just the rhythm. I know most drivers can just go out and just do one lap all at once and they just hook it up, but I find I can't really do that. So, and it is a short track, so it could be that the tyres aren't degrading as much, and maybe that they can do that second lap.
Wow, and look at the distance in between. Cam finally getting his foot down and setting down a provisional
Nice.
time of a 14.678, practically separated by nothing. And when I mean nothing, I genuinely do mean nothing, ladies and gentlemen. The gap separated by roughly. Oh, okay, well, Racing League Tools not giving me the correct gap. So it is roughly 400ths of a
Half a
second.
tenth. Yeah, yeah, but Cam, I'm just looking as well. So it looks like Cam's just running ABS. He's not running any traction. I'm not sure about the line or anything else, but yeah, I think he's gone for that no traction, and yeah, if he can put a lap together like that, yeah, as long as no one crashes into him, he might be looking good for a podium.
No, absolutely, and V-Carb does need it on his side. We all know how competitive and pacey Cam can be. We saw him previously in that Ferrari, that red car, and really did have the pace on certain races and really did showcase what he can do as a future champion, potentially. But Cam P2, 14.678, he needs this race more than ever, and the Aston Martin of Ghost Rider in P13 on a set of the C5s, brand new, set down, going around the final corner, and flat to the floor, pedal to metal. He will carry that momentum, and it's a 15.323. Goes P4 on the board, just behind Chill Pill, and slots in nicely.
Look, I just want to shout out for Shining Swarm as well. I know he's been really keen for a drive. He's been putting a lot of practice in as well. He's probably not getting the results he wants, but look, he's sticking with it. He's really got the right mindset, and he's only just going to improve. So, just to, like I said, just a shout out, keep your head held high, and keep doing what you're doing. Or only ways up, and just improve and get those laps together, and the times will come down. That's for sure.
Well, Shining Swarm currently through into the third and final. Of course, as you mentioned, through the first and second sectors. They're not exactly purple. Personal improvements, as he hasn't set down a previous time. 27.360 through the first, and it's a 28.427 through the second. And it's only a 118.182. So realistically, it's not the most competitive time we've seen so far, the fastest being a 14.637, but the point still stands that he is looking to improve, and preseason is a perfect place to showcase your ability, but also to get some practice in, to get used to being in a league environment again and racing competitively again and getting used to that once again. We have the Mercedes of Yusuf go on their outlap, just seemingly getting the battery all charged up, getting the tyres up to temperature, weaving back and forth as you will, and the Mercedes not too far away now.
Yeah, what's a comment in the chat with Farmer Sam and Yusuf suggesting that they start at the back? So, not sure if these guys are actually going to do a fast lap. They might, and then find a way to disqualify themselves and start at the back, or who knows? They might just, stick it out at the front and take it away. But who knows with these fast guys? Um, yeah, they like to do their own thing. So we'll see what they do.
Absolutely, and Yusuf Go continuing currently into turn 2 and eventually 3, following up corner to corner, apex to apex. And let's go on board here with the Mercedes of Yusuf Goat going up in elevation before quickly carrying on into turn 4, getting close with the white line, but it does set down a purple sector, which just ends up being a green sector, a personal improvement of a 26.722 through into the chicane, carrying the most amount of momentum he can possibly carry and doing it to perfection. Obviously through that in 6 and 7, now through 8, 9, and eventually out of the exit you reach turn number 10. You continue down through 11, and now reaching the braking zone of 12, rotating through once again right on the white line, trying to exuberate the most amount of pace into fruition to potentially set down a provisional pole, getting very wriggly, however, around the provisional corner, and now reaching turn number 14. Up to the line, it will be a 14.636, and even with
One
that bad exit out of
thousandth
turn
of a second.
13, he still manages to set down provisional pole by a thousandth of a second.
Yeah, you can't look. You can get closer than that, but you're talking about a whisker. So yeah, look, I think there's a little bit of time in that for Yusuf. He had a couple of little snaps. I don't think we sat on board with Mighty Wombat, but look, those 3 times at the front are very close. So if that's what we've got to if that's what we got in store for the season, upcoming season, this is going to be a great season.
And we have the Williams of Chilpill out of the exit of turn 13 and now entering into the tight and technical turn 14, getting the throttle down. Mighty Wombat with a
Far out.
14.161. Nearly practically 5/10 of a second improvement compared to his teammate in the Mercedes. My God, what a car! What what a time and what a driver!
Yeah, I don't know if Yusuf's got half a second, so that was a really good. That was a really good time. I'm just checking if Mighty Wombat. I think I asked him whether he was going to be a reserve or full timer. So I think he's signed up as a reserve, but he could be convinced
Oh, Farmer Sam
to become.
disqualified for
Oh,
driving the wrong direction.
that might be on purpose, I think. So you might want to start at the back of the grid. But yeah, Mighty Wombat, he might be convinced to, with times like that, he might be convinced to become a full timer and get snapped up pretty quickly.
Well, Twitch chat is yapping away at the moment in the background. We have Dante saying is Wombat a reserve, which of course you have answered, and explaining how Mercedes domination could bore fans. He says that Yusuf could improve by over a second if he were to try, and he is just sandbagging. Now, I'm almost certain he's just being sarcastic, but in the situation he is being all serious. 1 second is quite an improvement to find.
I think Apollo's also looking to get himself disqualified. So he's just, maybe, I'm not sure if he's just letting traffic through for his.
Well, his teammate just coming across the white line, unfortunately
Yeah, no, he's going the
invalidated.
wrong way, so he's
And
gonna
yeah, Dan the Racer
gonna
as well
disqualify
in
himself.
P11. Just going through, but yeah, invalidated. And Apollo Pepsi does get disqualified for driving in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing we wouldn't be seeing in a usual race. We don't encourage this, but yeah, look, if these guys want to have a little bit of a play, a little bit of a test, they can do that. And he's just got in the way of a car, so yeah, that's why we say we don't want to do this because he's now stuck in the middle of the road. Ferrari going backwards. Look, we don't like to see that. Hopefully, he can make his way from the back of the grid to the front.
No, absolutely. It looks as if we have an Alpine just coming across the line to get going on their lap time or finish up. Lil Sheldon, who in previous seasons has made a bit more of an appearance. We haven't really seen him so far in pre-season, but he's appeared here in Hungary, and we know how confident he can be. I believe in a previous season of Inters, he set down a podium position and really set his mark as a driver to have for the following season. Lewis Sheldon goes 6,200s. Apparently that is purple. And having a look at where Sheldon currently sits, it is a green time. So improving on his current time of a 15,390. However, not actually going purple at the moment. Through the next couple of corners, through the chicane of turn 6 and 7, follow through into 8. Then quickly you want to go left to 9 and continue just oodling with that throttle, making sure to get the most out of it, continuing now down in elevation, nearly 3/10 improvement, so he is clearly starting to find a little bit more time in his favour, going into turn 13, rounding off, stick close to the apex, don't get into the divot of the concrete because you will lose a lot of traction, and then you continue through into turn 14, same thing with the concrete, flat to the floor with the DRS open, it's a 14.979, and breaks into the 14s once again, has a little bit of a gap to Jetman behind, and the Alpine now solidifying himself in P5.
Yeah, it's not a bad time for Sheldon. He was came just have a look at the standings. Came 11th in last season Tier 2. So yeah, not a bad time for Sheldon. Close to those Tier 1 guys.
Absolutely, we have Cam on a set of the new C5s, Yusuf Goat also setting down a time on a new set of C5s, and a few other, including Quiet Cake, Junkyard Doggy, and Shining Swarm, who unfortunately invalidated on his previous lap time. So Yusuf Goat also looking to improve by quite a margin at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's up by 4/10 last I checked.
Looks
So
as
could
if
get close.
he lost time in the first sector. He's now 2/10 purple in the second. And now going into the third and final. Oh,
Oh, there you go.
wow.
All right. Yep. Dante, I think Dante was correct. So, yeah, Yusuf's going the wrong way down the straight. He's going to
Nice.
disqualify himself. Yep.
So set down a time, but will not take provisional poll. That time will be deleted because of his disqualification, and so clearly just proving a point that he is competitive enough, he is fast enough. Oh no, terrible position to be in, by the way. Set himself flat by retiring, and he's just retired Lil Sheldon along with it, and I'm sure the Alpine will be beyond frustrated.
Yeah, and like I said, this is why we don't do these things in real life and the proper races, league races, because the AI can do anything, and then you're held responsible for it. So, like I said, we'll let it pass for the pre-seasons. I know what they're trying to do, but there are drivers out there trying to impress, and they don't want to be held up by AI cars or be taken out. So,
Williams
Mighty
improved.
Wombat's pushing.
Chill Pill
He's
Jetman
gonna.
P34, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mighty Wombat. He's pushing, so he's going to be on pole probably. He's not looking to
Is he?
disqualify himself.
Oh wait, no, sorry, yeah, because of course, Yusuf retiring. So Mighty Wombat, of course, 14.161. Now, if you didn't see the sector times, he was 41 hundredths or 4 hundredths of a second up on his time. Bless me, sorry.
Uh,
And then fell down 5 tenths.
yeah, Cam is improving, so probably not going to fight for pole, but he's improving a little bit. Just the last few corners there. See what he can do. Still got heaps of battery left. Oof. If he actually used that battery a little bit better, he might have improved the time. 3 tenths. Oh,
Wow.
very nice, Cam. So yeah, 1:14.3 could have been a little bit better that battery, but still don't think it would have been pole. But still a great time. Yeah, up towards the low 14s. Very good.
Well, I hear a certain team principal is a bit impressed at the moment, and I just heard him peak in OBS, so clearly uh, quite happy on your side. Maybe bringing him back to Ferrari? Question mark.
Oh look, I wouldn't. I had a great lineup. I know. There's comments about how they, I think we were outdone by a checkered flag and his team on the tail end of the season. But those guys, they were a great set of guys in the Ferrari. So yeah, wouldn't think twice about picking them again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Cam, P2, 114.334, had 3.5 tenths in terms of improvements. So clearly just finding that time that he needed to go up in position. Cam will be beyond happy with that one. 2-lap old soft compound tyres as well to follow. So even with slightly worn tyres, still finding that time. So imagine if he was on a new set of the softs and pushed at that limit. Who knows, he may have even taken a provisional pole. But as it currently stands, ladies and gentlemen, everyone finished up with qualifying. We have finished up with positions, times all set down, and the slowest we had of them all ended in a 1:16.646, with the remaining being disqualified. It actually isn't counting Farmer Sam's time because of his disqualification, of course. So the slowest time that was set down was an 18.182. But of course, the important one, the man on pole, provisionally and now officially with a 114.161, is Mighty Wombat.
Yeah, like I said, a few games being played. Guys showing that they are fast, and with this smaller grid, they probably want to start at the back and see if they can make their way through to the front. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Farmer Sam and Yusuf can do. Even Apollo Pepsi starting from the back, trying to make their way through, especially a track like this where it's difficult to overtake. So. You would think Mighty Wombat at the front there, if he's got that pace, would probably pull a really big gap unless there's a safety car. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. Let's see how we go. They're going to have to make their way through some back markers as well. So it's not going to be easy.
Sorry, pardon me. No, it will not. That is the best way to put it. Now, we have all the pit crews and everyone behind the scenes stretched and ready for any lap 1 incidents that may occur. The people on the pit walls deciding and officiating these strategies ahead of us. The people on the grid finalizing their setups, making slight adjustments potentially to the front wing and different parts of the car that are still available, even under Parc Ferme conditions. And the strategies well and truly set up and ready. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 35 laps of action ahead of us, and we have 5 red lights. The lights go out, and it's Pels Medal here in Hungary, and it's a good getaway by Mighty Wombat. Chillpill in the Williams will try and go wheel to wheel with the V-carb of Cam, and going down into turn 1, the Williams on the outside line, looking to potentially go for the switchback, but he's going to stay on that line. Cam holds off, stays in P2. A little further down, Aston Martin going 3 wide and into the
Oh, there's a big
barrier.
crash.
There is a
Huge
large
crash.
amount of contact being made, and there's a kick Sauber who's just gone flying into the air. Kotsky goes down to P12. Lil Sheldon in the Alpine making way through the debris and carnage. We have 2 retirements in terms of damage. We also have Lil Sheldon with front wing damage. Apollo Pepsi, of course, out of this race, and the Kick Sauber the nameless Kick Sauber out of this race as well. Jetman down to P11 as he loses a few positions in this VSC period, and my god, did that unfold quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm just thinking whether we do a quick red flag. I'm not sure. Let's keep driving at the moment. I know there was a lot of cars involved in that incident. I think maybe caught up with the AI car of Kotzi. Maybe I'm not sure. I didn't actually see it. But yeah, I think we might just red flag it, get everyone back in, start again, same quality position. So let's do that. I just feel a bit bad for some of these drivers that are going to be coming in with half the grids coming in with new,
Well,
new wings. So let's red flag this, and we'll set up a new lobby with the same grid position. So let's do that.
Well, currently action's still taking place on circuit, but it is official. We will get a red flag to pause action and restart with all 14, potentially more drivers lining up. The Williams of Chillpill still looking to hunt down Mighty Wombat with Cam as well, but until the message is sent out, these drivers, well, there you go. I'm pretty sure everyone has just got the message about the red flag, and yeah, everyone kinda releasing into full and utter carnage now.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of fun as well. We get to see some people do some things they're not allowed to usually do. But yeah, usually on a race we wouldn't red flag it if it wasn't a technical issue. But like I said, it's pre-season. We want to see drivers have a go. There was an AI involved, so let's just restart it.
Absolutely, and Mercedes of Yusuf Goat just continuing to chase down Chilpo. I don't know if he's actually got the message. Someone, I'm sure, will be in his ear, letting him know that there is a red flag. Mighty Wombat's still continuing as well, so until someone gives him the message, there's going to be a few drivers that will continue on. Maybe if I quickly speak in chat, they might be able to see red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. I don't know if they have their game chat off or not, but maybe that they'll be able to hear that and get through to them.
Yeah, I think Apollo will just set up a new lobby, sends them invites. I think once they see some invites popping through, they'll probably get the gist.
It seems my message has got through a few people, just disqualifying themselves now and picking up penalties as well. And there's the corner cutting, and there you go. All absolute carnage unleashing. But yeah, we are under red flag conditions, ladies and gentlemen, and a restart will be imminent before we get going once again for more action. So back onto the calendar screen, of course, just allowing the opportunity for everyone to reset and restart, but plenty of debris and carnage currently unfolding at the moment out on circuit as everyone eventually but surely comes to a stop and allows for the end of the session. But yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. Everyone retire, please. Red flag, red flag, red flag. And once again, just sending the message out to all drivers that do have voice chat on. And yeah, there you go. Now we're getting everyone retiring. Everyone's coming back into the pit lane, and it will be the end of this session. But I hope everyone in the Twitch chat is well on this fantastic evening of racing. Of course, thank you for sticking around, even with the difficulties that we've had. And yeah, session now officially ended, so we should be getting going once again soon enough. And we have Battlecat, of course, just working hard behind the scenes at the moment. Let's switch over, of course, to the team principals, where we can, of course, go through the list of people who will be lining up and, of course, hoping to add to their collection of drivers being a part of their team. We have TMT Legend in the Red Bull, Mozza in the Mercedes, pardon me, Dante in the McLaren, Ray Ray in the Aston Martin, Checkered Flag in the V Cub, Battlecat in the Ferrari, Ads in the Alpine, Mertz in the Kick Sauber, Lucas in the Haas, and Aussie 2K in the Williams.
Yeah, we've got a couple of new TPs in here. I think Lucas Mertz, who's decided to take a break from driving, is decided to pick up TP role. Who else? Dante. Dante's a new one as well. So a couple of newbies, Moza, and then we've got a fewer goats. I know TMT's. He's got a few. He's got a whole server running with all the different TPs, all the leagues and TP roles he's playing a part in. Ray Ray's back. Checkered's definitely trying to find some drivers to help him win a second consecutive championship. Aussie's back for redemption after a poor running, I think, from the Mercs, combined with a lot of internet issues. Ads is back. Ads is another one actually. He's one to keep an eye on, and he's got the Alpine behind him. So it's going to be a great season with these PPs. Um, I'd be lucky to get P2. I really will. So let's see how we go.
No, absolutely. Of course, with this lineup of team principals, the draft, of course, and we'll switch over to the calendar now. But the draft, of course, located on the 26th of January for the draft to decide to allow the team principals to choose their driver lineup for the upcoming season of Season 8, and then, of course, allow those drivers to try and win not only the Constructors, but potentially a Drivers' Championship in their favour. It's a reset, another go for the second stint of the F124 game cycle before eventually F125 will be coming out, as it does on a yearly basis. And hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, and I do echo this to EA and Codemasters, on a new game engine and on a new platform, mainly for next gen only, so we can actually get that opportunity to have a refresh game and give people a new challenge instead of slightly changed physics.
You are dreaming, JP. It will be the same thing, copy and paste with more bugs, and we will all be paying for it, and we'll all be complaining about it. That's how it probably will be. But yes, I do cross my fingers and toes that they come out with a better game.
I personally believe I'm not dreaming. I believe wholeheartedly we're going to get to the trailer by the time it's like April, maybe June. We're going to get to the trailer. It's going to release, and it's going to be on. It's going to be on Unreal Engine, right? It's going to be a brand new game, brand new graphics, brand new physics. There's going to be a whole revamp on the UI. Maybe if it's on PC, it's slightly different. You might be able to buy like a yearly subscription and get into certain, specific PC leagues, or, I can dream, and I believe that it's going in that direction.
Yeah, look, if they can't even change a driver out and get rid of put Lawson in,
Okay,
we are
listen,
hoping for a lot.
listen, man.
But yes, I'm pessimistic. You're optimistic. Hopefully, we'll meet somewhere in the middle and we'll have a good game.
No, absolutely. We are just starting to fill up with this lineup on in the lobby so far, ladies and gentlemen. We won't be too far away before we're back under green flag, running for the second race start of the session for 35 laps of action ahead of us. Of course, we have many, many different drivers who want the opportunity to showcase their ability. We had a kick Sauber, and I'm actually unsure on who that nameless man is. Might not be nameless for you. I've got two people who are nameless. So
Who's that? And the Kick Sauber. Kick Sauber, we got Quiet Cake, and that's all the Kick Sauber I see.
I also have a Ferrari driver, not
Dan the
Apollo
Racer
Tips. Yeah, yeah,
and
Dan the
Apollo.
Racer. There
Dan
you
the
go.
Racer. Yeah.
So Quiet Cake and Dan the Racer, ladies and gentlemen, on the stream will be not there, but I'll make sure to point it out whenever we go on board with them, or if anything does happen to them in any type of way. However, I'm gonna. I assume rhetorical question. I think more or less, but I'd assume this will be the last restart we have. If there is a bit of carnage, it will.
Yeah, we're not really going to be restarting forever. So I think it was a lap one incident. But yeah, look, just if everyone can hear us, keep it clean. You know, lap one, it's a long race. Um, we don't want to be restarting all the time, especially with this lovely EA invite system. So yeah,
God, you sound
let's
like
let's
me
try to
when
get
I'm.
going as
You,
soon as
you, you
possible.
sound like me when I'm commentating Creator Series, because guess who sponsors Creator Series?
Oh yeah, so
EA.
EA Cody's. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah,
on them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you just gotta be careful with your words over there. It's a fun time over there. It's always great. And actually, I'll reveal this because it is Inter's Racing League, and we currently only have eight viewers. But when you first join the comms chat and creator series, the one thing they actually point out, because they know it's a shit game, but they can't say that. The one thing they'll say immediately is if there is any bug or any glitch with the game, if you get disconnected, please refer it to just a disconnection or refer it to your internet and not to EA.
Of course. No, it's never their problem. Especially when I'm on a party chat and the party chat keeps going and my Twitch feed keeps going, but the game disconnects. Definitely not a game issue. It's an internet issue, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
IT support 101. But hey, look, let's see what's happening here in the chat. Who are we waiting for? Um, I might just jump over to the other chat. JP, maybe I'll just leave you by yourself for a minute and
Yep.
see where we're at, and come back to this one in a minute.
No problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment, we of course are just in the midst of getting the drivers all sorted in the lobby before continuing on with more action. I was actually about to bring this up as well. I'm sneezing at the moment. I'm just very lightly sick, so please bear with me at periods of time in this, stream. I may need to mute and sneeze or whatever, but we're still here, we're still pushing along, and we're still having a great time. Now, once again, I think we've already gone through a lot of the information for this evening, but let's go through the strategy. Now, of course, because of the C5s, the tire lifespan until puncture is only 17 laps, 27 laps for the mediums, and 39 laps for the hards until the puncture range. So it really gives you a better idea on kind of where all the tires stand. But the hards really don't go the distance that you'd expect it to go, especially being the C3s around a place like pardon me, sorry, I just got an Epic Games invite. Anyway, around a place like Hungary. Now, for the plans in terms of strategy, you have pretty much a one-stop planned out to perfection. No one's really going to touch the soft compound tires. It's rather you start on the mediums or you start on the hards. But the pit window is anywhere between lap 13 to lap 22, depending on the tire that you start on. So if you start on the hards, around lap 15 to 22 is when you'd probably box. But if you're starting on the mediums, then lap 13 to 20 is where you'd probably box. And if you start on the mediums, you go to the hards. If you start on the hards, you go to the mediums. If there is a safety car for whatever reason or damage, then you'll probably end up boxing on lap 1 over to the hards, and if you're on the hards, then over to the mediums. You get the idea. So it's very like back and forth, yin and yang, goes between those compounded tires, and doesn't really change from that point. Now, the expected tire wear for these is also quite intriguing. Now, because of the fact that the hards are the C3s and they do last the longest, right down the middle, the hards are 1.9% degradation per lap, compared to the C5s, where you have 4.5% worth of degradation per lap. So it puts into context the type of degradation we might be seeing this evening. The ideal temps will be around 70 degrees that you want to be in. Not overheating, however, not too cold either. That's where you kind of want to have it, right in that time period. So, right in that temp period. So, like I said, not too high, not too low. ERS loss when it comes to being on a hot lap. So, if you have your ERS set to hot lap mode, expect yourself to lose around 23% per lap. If you have it on overtake mode, expect yourself to lose around 29% per lap. If you are on gain, so if you turn it to off, expect yourself to gain about 23% per lap. So overall, all pretty similar. Thank you to everyone in the Twitch chat who has joined us this evening. We are currently under red flags conditions. We are getting everyone into the lobby before getting going once again. A few more people just seemingly joining in, picking their cars, and then it will be green flag running all the way for the 5 red lights to go off. We do appreciate your patience as always. Pit stop. The time lost is 19.5 seconds, so practically 20 seconds, especially if the pit crews mess up a tyre or if they just, for whatever reason, can't seem to make the most efficient time out of it, especially if, for example, you're changing the front wing. On average, it's around a 7-second lap time, so puts into context a little bit more. And we have Battlecat back inside the VC, and we are getting back to green flag running right as you join.
Yeah, we're back. So trying to set the grid as best we can for quali. I think we've got an extra driver or two in here, so we're not too worried about it being perfect. But if the guys can hear us, remember your setups. We've got a new lobby, so do not do not just ready up immediately. Otherwise, you will be you won't be very fast.
Very fast at all, will you? Because, of course, then you don't get your setups, then you don't get comfortable with the car, it drives differently to how you would have wanted it, and then you're not able to carry that confidence that you previously did have. Now, obviously, going into the race for this evening, of course, separate to the first time around, we have a few more drivers, as you mentioned, racing, including people like Scotty, and just having a learn. Is that Ghost Rider, of course, as well, joining us. So
I
there's a
think
few.
Dante was in here as well. Yeah, Dante's in here as well. So
Oh,
yep.
there you go. Yeah, Dante as well joining the fray. So there's a few more names, just increasing the size of the lobby just by a little bit. And now it seems as if the weather just turning to a bit more overcasty. Time has passed, but the red
Um,
flag period coming to an end.
yeah, I'm just still seeing the calendar on the
Oh,
feed.
it's all good. I was switching it. Don't worry.
Beautiful.
It's all
Yep.
good. All good. All good.
There we go.
So
Yeah, weather looks a bit cloudy and overcast. I need to. My racing tools hasn't yet connected, so once it does, I'll have a look what the weather shows. But could be up for a little bit of rain maybe. That'll
potentially.
spice things up.
Well, RLT currently saying that the weather forecast is disconnected. That's what it is. It's disconnected.
Yep. Yeah, just as soon as it goes green, I think we'll see that update.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the second time running. It is lights out, and everyone is away. GLX Cam in P2, looking to fight away, and once again, it is history remarking itself all over again. Chillpill in P2 around the outside. But will he now successfully make the move? Yes, he will. Getting the throttle down just slightly quicker and goes up into second position. Cam down to P3. Yusuf Goat making his way through the field with absolute P's, already up to P10, falling down because of Lil Sheldon, who goes on the outside line. Slight tussle causes contact to the left side pod, but continuing on as Apollo Pepsi in the Ferrari, moving up to P10. Yusuf go down to P11. Everyone running a little bit too wide there, and the Ferrari still staying in P10 for the time being, but needs to break ahead of that corner a little bit earlier, and Chillpill 5/10 away from Mighty Wombat in P1 compared to Chillpill in the Williams in P2. So Mighty Wombat has got the getaway he would have wanted, and racing action now officially underway here in Hungary.
Yeah, so just looking at position changes, Little Sheldon's the biggest loser, down 5 positions. Polo Pepsi up 3. Little Sheldon's down 6 now, so yeah, he's had a poor start, but doesn't look like there's any damage. So everyone's kept it clean. Looking at tyres, we've got Dante, Yusuf, not Dante, Dan the Racer, Yusuf, and Little Sheldon on hards. That could be a reason why Sheldon's dropped a few positions. Everyone else is on meds.
Absolutely, it looks as if the medium compound run is predominantly taking the field at the moment, with of course only 3 drivers on the C3 hards, with that being I believe that is Dan the Racer, Yusuf Goat, and Lil Sheldon. Yusuf, of course, coming through the field, wants to go a little bit longer on his tyres, potentially box a bit later and overtake later on through the field on a newer set of the tyres. It means hunting down drivers who would box a little earlier on, so we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But Cam currently hunting down Chillpill in P2, and Chillpill doing the same for Mighty Wombat. The top 5, top 6, all quite close to one another, very similar deltas, and just seemingly looking to try and close in, make a moves at some point. And the Williams of Jetman just struggling with his tyres a little bit. McLaren will try and send it down the inside, but the door is shut, and racing looking quite close at the moment.
Yeah, Jetman's just got to make sure he gets the DRS. It looks like he will. Oh, maybe not. Maybe he won't. Oh, it's going to be
No,
close.
because of the DRS detection, so I do believe he probably will get
He's
the
missed
DRS. No, he's missed out. You're correct on that one. So Junkyard Doggy will now get a much larger amount of tow out of this, due to the fact that one man does not have his DRS open. Of course, being Jetman, Junkyard Doggy will go down the inside there, and Kick Sauber will just make contact with Jetman there momentarily, and looking to try and battle away as they go wheel to wheel.
Yeah, and again, it's about try not to fight. Like try to catch guys in front. It was only a small gap, but as soon as you drop DRS in this game, it's so hard to get it back. But yeah, looking at the front here, I'm going to shout out to Cam. He's been he's sticking it with them, and still in P3, staying nice and close to Wombat and Ghost Rider there. So Chillpill's leading the way. Just have a look at Yusuf as well. Yusuf's in P11 and Farmer Sam's close behind. They're up to some traffic now, so let's see how that. I'm just curious to see how they get past some of these back markers and how much time they're going to lose.
Well, the Mercedes going down the inside, at least thought about it, switched over before quickly backing out of it and staying behind the Ferrari of Dan the Racer, which of course on that my screen is nameless, but it is Dan the Racer, and the Kick Sauber is Quiet Cake, if you were wondering. The McLaren of Farmer Sam tried switching to that inside line, but the door shut on him. DRS open and will not help him make a move, as it just influctuates the aerodynamics and stops that opportunity. But that 12 kilometers of extra speed is still carried in a big lockup by the Mercedes of Yusuf Goat. Farmer Sam holds the inside line and now goes up to P10. What a move.
Yeah, Yusuf just outbreak himself, but just lost 1 position there, not too bad. Again, they're on the hard, so they're going to take it long, trying to fight their way through. So Farmer Sam's now 1.7 seconds behind P9. Let's see how quickly he can close that gap. Junkyard Doggy in P5 has they've fallen back out of that DRS position. It's now 2.5 seconds behind. So that battle between 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th is going to be an important one, but they're going to definitely not catch the guys in front.
Well, clearly the technicality of Hungary is on display. The tyre lifespan until puncture for the mediums is 27 laps, and already, even though we're at the end of lap 4, practically lap 5, We have people like Chilpill in P1 with 15% tire deg, and even the V-Carb in P3 Cam with 13% tire deg, so clearly quite high and already starting to rip away that rubber from the Pirelli slicks of the mediums, and Mighty Wombat retaking the lead as he goes down the inside.
Yeah, just looking at weather. Weather's it just says cloudy, I think. So it's not. I don't think it's going to rain at this stage. So we'll keep an eye on that. But looks clear for now.
Yep, and from what I'm seeing as well, forecast says it's cloudy, 15% chance of rain, 24 degrees, and that looks to be, what, 35 degrees on circuit, so clearly just looking pretty
Yep.
overcasty but dry for the most part, and GLX Cam 3/10 away from potentially making a move on Chilpill, sticking with them and doing a great job of that with Ghost Rider in P4. Aston Martin making a move on the Kick Sauber previously, who's now 3.4 away from the Aston Martin and trying to potentially close in on this top 3 and make it a top 4 battle. Meanwhile, Mighty Wombat out in front for his strategic advantage will be looking to try and break that 1 second gap and allow himself the best opportunity of going on any lane in terms of strategy choices.
Yeah, just having a look. Quiet Cake's leading a huge train now, so that's going all the way down to Farmer Sam and Yusuf. Those guys have caught the back markers, trying to make a move now on the Ferrari. Yusuf's gone on the inside. Looks like he's going to send it, get the move done. I think get a second load of DRS. Farmer Sam, is he going to make it? Doesn't look like it, so Farmer Sam might have to wait for the for a next lap.
Well, Yusuf Goat still necessarily getting the move done against the Ferrari driver, so up into P9 he goes. Farmer Sam down to P11 with a 2.5 gap to the Ferrari in P10. So still the margins are, let's say, marginal. Two separate words still meaning something so similar. Anyway, the McLaren in P11 down to a 10th, going through the chicane of 6 and 7, and just trying to stick with them to the best of his ability as Yusuf Goat now really getting close to the Williams. Had to break momentarily as it is Jetman just losing the rear end of his car, a slight snap, and once again it just seems as if the Williams gets loose on multiple different occasions. Yusuf looked for an opportunity but couldn't get it done, and the Williams is all over the show. It's clear to see that Yusuf has significantly more traction in comparison, and Jetman, of course, in the Williams, currently located in P8, not showing his telemetry, so I was going to show you the tyre percentage, but he's not sharing his telemetry, the little cheeky prick.
Yeah, look, we encourage everyone to do that. It helps us out with the stats as well. Just looking at the front, Chilpill had dropped the DRS, went down the straight, closed the gap, and now it's fallen out of it again. So that's just something to keep in mind. I was watching on with Mighty Wombat. He was burning to extend that lead, and I think both of them have really depleted their battery. But it is critical for Chilpill to close that gap to less than a second. Otherwise, I think Mighty Wombat might just take it away. So, and again, Ghost Rider and Cam really probably shouldn't fight as hard to try to help close that gap, because otherwise it's going to take it away.
Well, the Ferrari Apollo Pepsi still right in the middle of this battle. Jetman now actually breaking that 1 second deficit. So there's now another break in the DRS train. The Ferrari of Dan the Racer previously being one of the first to do so. And then, of course, Shining Swarm 15 seconds behind. So unfortunate for the V-Carb, not really carrying the pace as other drivers are. But it's a great place to practice and a great place to hone your skill and talent in league racing. Dante with a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunate for him, as the Aston Martin only 4/10 away from making a move against P6, and in the DRS train it's the worst place to get a penalty, especially when it's track limits related. So the Haas of Scotty in P13, of course I was doing comms with him yesterday, now he's out on circuit and doing the best job he possibly can with the Aston Martin of Dante, looking for the outside line and going into turn 3. What a move, really getting late on the brakes, making sure not to lock up the tyres, and one driver being Yusuf Goat, unfortunately spread out onto the grass and just pushed a bit too wide.
Yeah, not sure. Saw the tail end of that. Saw the Merc cut in the grass, and he's lost a few positions. I think he was up near Farmer Sam in P7, so definitely dropped a few positions. No damage from what I can see, but yeah, I don't think Yusuf will be happy with that move. Who else am I seeing here? So I think what else was I going to say? Yeah, Shining Swarm. I think he had a bit of might have had a bit of a spin. There was a yellow flag earlier on. Scotty in the back there. He's trying to make his way through. He was the winner in DRS, championship winner DRS. Did pretty well in Oz F1 as well. So he's one to watch for Tier 2. Definitely very fast, very consistent. Let's see who else is. And the guys at the front, they've closed the DRS. So Chilpill's now
Yellow
less
flag.
than a
That
second.
is.
So yeah, I think Shining's still getting the hang of things. He's had a little bit of an off there, but yeah, the front runners have closed the gap, and they're all within a second now to top four. So that's really important for Chilpill to close it and stay with the DRS.
Well, the McLaren's actually going quite close to one another. Farmer Sam in P6 making a fantastic move against Junkyard Doggy in P7. Of course, just tussling will cost them a little bit of time behind and allow them to close in. Now down to 7.5 tenths, and Farmer Sam and Junkyard Doggy going through into turn number 5 before going into 6 and 7 at the chicane, making sure to spread out a little bit more. 3-second time penalty. What's happening?
Yeah, so I think Quiet Cake and Yusuf. I think Yusuf's trying to push his way through, and Quiet Cake is not one to just allow people through. So there was a little bit of argy bargy there, and I think that 3 second penalty to Quiet Cake for cutting the track was due to being pushed off track.
Well, Mighty Wombat in P1, now down to 4 tenths of a second. Chillpill looked down the inside, looked to be going into turn 12, but unfortunately couldn't go through with it. DRS once again, however, and going into turn 1, he will make the move. Late on the brake, slight locking on that front left tyre, but keeps it all together. Front right, my apologies. Different, yeah, obviously, directionally, because I was looking in the other opposite direction. But Chillpill going into turn number 2, and will set it in stone as he now takes the lead of the race once again, and a great little battle happening at the moment right near the front end of the field. Of course, the gaps are all tight and the midfield's close as well, but Chillpill and Mighty Wombat have gone back on a few occasions on one another, and Ghost Rider looking to try and get a piece of that action, just not close enough at the moment.
Yeah, there's a Ferrari and a Williams, I think it was, that might have got together. They're back on track. The Ferrari's got some front wing damage that I can see, so I'm not sure. It's only slight. Oh, who was that in the middle of the road?
That appears to be
I think it
Jetman,
was
who is,
Jetman. Yeah.
yeah, who has now got a yellow flag brought out, green flag back out again. There's a Ferrari who's also, no, kick Sauber, and that would be Quiet Cake, unfortunately,
Yeah,
number
he's got some damage.
68, and yeah, damage to his car, and that is front wing. And you mentioned how a Williams had front wing damage. It's actually front wing damage for the Ferrari of Dan the Racer, and front wing
Yes.
damage for Quiet Cake. So it's pretty easy to tell because there's two nameless drivers with front wing damage, ladies and gentlemen. So the two you can't see are the two with front wing damage.
Yeah, and they might just come in, change a wing, throw on a set of hards, and probably take it to the end. Well, Dan the Racer has not. He's decided not to. I think
Dan
Dan
the
the Racer's
Racer is on the
damage was
hards.
pretty light. Yeah, it's not really visible on the screen. Whereas Quiet Cake, he did lose his one of his end plates there, so he's got to come in for a new wing. But Farmer Sam, look, he's moved up there. Let me just have a look at the change of position. So he's up 8 positions. Dante's also up 8. So those guys are, they're going to really want to be fighting for the win. Still got about, about 6-7 seconds to the lead. But they've done that on the hard tyres, so they've definitely got the pace.
Well, the Mercedes and Mighty Wombat only 3.5 tenths away from Shilpu, and they've continued to go back and forth, these two, really putting on a great display of clean action, sticking close together and just making the move when the opportunity arises. Aston Martin has been pretty consistent with his gap, and so is Cam. The top 4 staying really where they are at the moment. Cam just getting an overtake done now, as so is everyone else, as it seems as if Mighty Wombat coming into the pit lane. So some of those drivers who had damage, or rather, just wanting to get onto a new set of tyres earlier on, now covering off that potential undercut that was out in play, going on a set of the C3 hards, but he's actually waited there, and now he's got going once again as Mighty Wombat leaves the pit area.
Yeah, it's a pretty expensive lawnmower towards the back there. Apollo Pepsi, I think he had a spin and he's gone back on track, so he's lost a few positions. I also see some damage as well, so he's got some wing damage. Might be coming into that wing, I think, now as well. So these guys will be hoping for a safety car, but at the moment it's been pretty clean. So I just don't think there'll be a safety car anytime soon.
Well, to be honest, since we've started this whole pre-season testing here in Inters, there's not been a single safety car. We've only had virtual safety cars deployed, so I don't know if it's a thing in your settings, but yeah, we only have VSCs deployed. And there's been plenty of incidents in the past where if we were doing league racing, it would have been a full safety car condition, but we've only been given virtual safety cars, so yeah,
Yeah,
unsure, but
safety car is reduced. It's turned on, but it is reduced. Yeah.
that's probably why then. Yusuf Goat in the Mercedes, 3 tenths away from the Aston Martin of Dante, and Cam now coming into the pit lane. So they're all just slowly but surely covering each other off at the moment. They want to lose the least amount of time by coming into the pits as early as possible. So of course it was Mighty Wombat who came into the pits to cover off the people who came into the pits before him, and now it is Cam coming into the pits to cover off Mighty Wombat in P10. But the Mercedes will swoop by and get the undercut confirmed, and he goes into P8, now virtually leading this race.
Yeah, probably not a bad call from Cam. He's not going to get DRS, but he will get the undercut, I think, from the guys in front. So the hope is he will hopefully get net P2, but you've got to just keep an eye on the Farmer Sam and Yusuf, who are relatively fast. And Quiet Cake set the fastest lap. That shows you the speed of those new tyres as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And on top of that point as well, of course, with Cam having slightly newer tyres by 1 lap, of course, the deficit will be nothing by this point, probably a percentage or two. But, you know, by the time it's maybe 10 laps old, and you have one tyre that's 10 laps old and one tyre that's 11 laps old, that will have a bit more of an advantage in Cam's favour. So it will play out a little bit more, but it's more just about waiting a little bit more in the long terms side of things. My apologies.
Yeah, the front runners have decided to go for another lap, so they didn't decide to react. And I think with that, yeah, and they've taken each other out. Oh my God! If you have a look at that, don't know what happened there, but yeah, both front runners just collided with each other.
Unfortunate. Ghost Rider, of course, now down to P5, Chill Pill in P4, and some of the, of course, circuit race leaders, of course, most likely would have been undercut by people like Cam and Yusuf, sorry, not Yusuf, Cam and Mighty Wombat behind, now losing out in position. Ghost Rider moves up to P4, just what he would have wanted, gaining a little bit more time and potentially allowing himself to lose less positions when he comes into the pit lane, and Yusuf looking to potentially extend and give himself an opportunity to go for a potential overcut, as he is currently on the hard compound tyres and going long.
Yeah, look, I've got my Stewart's hat on, just having a look at the replay, and I think might have been Chill Pill. It might have just cut across. We'll upload it. We'll have a little bit of a chat later on, and we'll see. But look, it was very close. I just don't think he realised it was right beside him. And they're going to have to do a lap on some broken wings, and they're coming in now to change them. Yep.
Well, it is Chill Pill who's got bright red on that front wing, so it's clear to see that the damage is a little bit more predominant compared to what Dan the Racer had to deal with. Coming through the field, of course, is Mighty Wombat, and once again, he is virtually becoming the leader, and with the penalties stacked up against Lil Sheldon and Dante, both, well, with Dante's carrying 6 seconds worth of penalties, with Lil Sheldon is just the alone 3. So it's clear to see Mighty Wombat's in a perfect position at the moment, is looking to really set it up to go through the field, get positions done as quickly as possible, and you can see Lil Sheldon letting him by to cost him the least amount of time possible. He doesn't want to be caught up in a battle he doesn't need to be caught up in, and Lil Sheldon just making sure he can still manage his pace the best way possible.
Yeah, so just looking at the time difference between Mighty Wombat and Cam, I think there was just under 3 seconds. Just keeping an eye on that, see if he's closing or Mighty Wombat's pulling away. But yeah, I think Cam's definitely net P2, but we just got to see what happens with those front runners like Yusuf and Dante and Sheldon. They've still got old tires on and see when they come out. So Dante's actually coming in now. He's going to put on a set of hards. We'll probably see Yusuf keep going for at least another 5 laps or so. I reckon probably around lap 20 come in for a set of meds.
Oh, it is GLX Cam in P4, just breaking that 1 second deficit. Of course, he is on a set of a new C3 hard compound tire, and the V carb raveling around turn number 2 before going into 3 and hunting down the Alpine of Lewis Sheldon, who of course is on 15 laps of the C3s. So a few people who are still remaining out on circuit, of course, are the ones that are on the hards, looking to go a little bit longer in their stint. I can only assume Yusuf's stint and strategy will be to stay on the hards, come in, box for a set of the mediums, and then allow himself to try and pick up the pieces and try and use those newer tyres in comparison to Mighty Wombats to potentially win this race by overtaking them.
Yeah, there's a 10-second gap between the two now. We'll keep an eye on that. You would assume it's going to fall because Mighty Wembach's got fresher tyres. So by the time Yusuf comes in, let's assume that's even 8 seconds. It's probably about 20-second pit stop.
19.5.
He's going to have to, yeah, he's going to have to do a fair bit to going to have to be a second lap, more than a second, probably 2 seconds a lap faster. So I don't see Yusuf winning it today unless it's a safety car.
Farmer Sam picking up the fastest lap of the race, a 16.854. Impressive by the McLaren driver. But realistically, Yusuf needs to make a decision soon because he is continuing to lose out time. And with Cam behind him and continuing to close in on Wombat behind, or Wombat ahead, sorry, it's just going to be more drivers overtaking him the longer that Yusuf stays out. So realistically, it's about damage limitation, get onto the mediums, and just allow yourself the best opportunity at costing you the least amount of positions. I see his thought process, maybe staying out a little longer, pardon me, going onto the mediums and allowing himself to, be on a new set of tires late in the race to make some overtakes that may, give him the opportunity to be in a better position than where he currently sees himself, which he can't be. He's in P1, but you get my point. It's down to 8.9 now, so he's practically gained a second on Yusuf, his Mighty Wombat. But Yusuf staying out. He clearly wants to go long and use those mediums to the fullest extent.
Yeah, if he comes in now for the meds though, he's gonna have to do almost half a race in the meds. So it is. Ghost Rider's just had a huge spin at the at the last turn. I think he's lost his front wing
I
as
believe
well.
that's
So
Dante, not Ghost Rider. It is now down to P10 as P11
sorry.
follows as well. It sounded like you had a brain aneurysm. I was so confused for about half a second. But now down to around 2.3 seconds with a penalty against your name going into turn number 1. And Dante right into... Did Dante just do a very poor attempt at killing himself in this race because he just went into a barrier? And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, using RLT, he has no front wing damage. He still hasn't been able to do it. He still hasn't done it. But you know what? Let's
He's
stick on
trying to.
board. Let's stick on board with Dante until he does it. He's trying to do it in like... Oh, he's going to reverse. Yep, he's going to reverse now. Yep, through the gears, he's in reverse. There you go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, he's still driving. He's really not getting this, is he?
Yeah, not sure what he's trying to do,
Well,
but that's all right.
he's trying to retire, but he's trying to do it in, let's say, in brackets, a professional manner, which is he's not. A professional manner would be retiring in the pit lane, but Yusuf Goat coming into the pit, so finally making that decision to strategically come in, saw he was losing too much time out, and will most likely spend the remaining part of this race on those medium compound tires. It's going to be a long stint for him. Of course, we saw. Jesus, we saw that the mediums, even 4 laps in, were already around 15% degraded for some of the other drivers. Of course, we know Yusuf can be quite good on his tyres. We know he's quite a competitive driver, so we'll have to wait and see how he'll treat his tyres. But, the mediums only has a life of around 27 laps. And though we don't have 27 laps remaining, there's no doubt by the time he reaches the checkered flag, his tyres will be around 40 to 50%.
Yeah, I thought maybe Dante might have wanted to bring a safety car out. Not sure what he's doing. He's in the middle of the road now.
Well, this
He's
is pre-season testing, and if there's one place you don't really want to be doing this type of stuff, that's it's not going to be impressing team principals in the slightest. He's coming into the pit lane now. For some reason, he's
I
also
think he
slowing
is a
down.
team
So
principal. So I think
I see.
he's got a team principal role. So yeah, but let's see. He's put on a set of softs. He might be trying to set a fastest lap here. And
Well,
Little Sheldon's just come into the pits as well, and he's got a 10-second penalty as well. So I don't think he's retired, but he's picked up a 10-second by coming into the pits. So
well, I'm
yeah,
going
you
to be
just got to
honest here,
really.
by the way. In terms of damage limitation, Yusuf's only fallen down to P4, and he's only 3.2 away from Farmer Sam.
Yeah, look, I think he's up for a podium, but I don't know if he's going to catch up to Mighty Wombat. It's got 15 laps to go, and he's got what is it, 8, 10 seconds or so to make up. So it's possible, but look, I think maybe he might catch Cam, but I don't think he's going to catch Wombat.
Think he's going to get close, but just miss out, unfortunately. I think Yusuf just boxing a little bit too early. But, how further out could you probably stay out? He needed to box eventually, and if he kept staying out, he was going to keep losing more time and potentially more positions than just P4. And, yeah, it is what it is. He is in the position he's in. He's just set fastest lap of a 16.155, so he's got pace on his side, but, I think it's going to be a lot of high-speed driving if he wants to try and get into P1. And, every single lap his tyres are degrading more and more and more. On average, it will be roughly for the mediums 2.8% per lap. So he really will need to kick into gear if he wants that opportunity.
Yeah, just looking at some of the drivers, a few of them picking up some track limit penalties. Hungary's not the easiest of pens, but again, another thing that as a TP, I tell my drivers, especially tracks like this, just watch the track limit penalties. Races are won and lost with 3 seconds or 6 second penalties. So yeah, just there's another one from Jetmans as I speak. So something just keep in mind. The fastest way is often not the way to cut corners and pick up penalties.
Well, Yusuf Goat P4 is down to 1.8. Of course, we expected the gap to go down, and Farmer Sam only 9 tenths away from Cam. So pretty much by the time Yusuf catches up to Farmer Sam, he'll be fighting Cam as well. Fastest lap set down of a 1:16.011. So he's improved by 1.5 tenths in terms of his fastest time. So clearly, of course, setting the pace down as we would expect. But already, in terms of tyre deg, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure if you were to take your guess on 3-lap old mediums, maybe it's 8%, maybe it's 7%. No, it's already at 12%. So it's clear to see that the degradation is quite high on those mediums. It does fall away quite quickly, and he needs to make the most of it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get into the DRS and then hopefully get a tow. Um, but yeah, looking at Farmer Sam's already less than a second, and Yusuf's caught up as well. So there's going to be a three-way battle in the DRS, and I think Cam's going to be a little bit. It's going to be overtaken. I think at least by Farmer Sam, but I think Cam just needs to continue doing what he's doing. He's having a great race so far.
It's tough,
These
really,
guys
because Yusuf
yeah.
Coach just, I mean, the DRS detection points, right? Yeah, he's going to get DRS. It's down to 9 tenths now, and Yusuf will get that rear wing open, as you can clearly see right there. Mercedes does get it open. So now the gap will continue to trail down. Farmer Sam going down the inside, going into turn 1, and the McLaren now able to just solidify that position a little bit further. I mean, they really don't need to be battling at this stage, to be honest, because realistically, if they don't want to be overtaken by Yusuf, they need to be working together a little bit more and trying to avoid costing each other time. But, not much else to do because Farmer Sam doesn't want to be overtaken by Yusuf. He wants the opportunity to still finish in P2. And meanwhile, Cam wants the exact same thing. So Yusuf ticking down the time and making up position, or at least making up more gain every single corner they go through. Just the grip advantage really is there to see, and Yusuf just waiting in the shadows for the right opportunity. Meanwhile, Cam just falling away from Farmer Sam a little bit, increasing to 4/10, back down to 3.5. And clearly there is strength in different parts for these drivers, and Mercedes just waiting.
Yeah, Yusuf's battery looking pretty healthy as well. So I think Yusuf's going to be fighting. His tyres are relatively new. He's going to be pushing Cam.
Both have
Let's
DRS,
see.
but one has much newer tyres, and that's clearly on display. Even on 19%, nearly 20% deg, it is clear to see the Mercedes has been able to make that move solidified, and into P3 goes the Mercedes driver, and he makes a position become something of a reality. But right now, still continuing to hunt down the McLaren. So even if Farmer Sam were to make the move, it's clear to see that the hard compound tyre runner is just not able to fight in comparison. But to be fair, 9 laps old on the hards isn't that bad in comparison to 5 laps on the mediums, as silly as it might sound, because the deg is just that little bit higher for the mediums, and Farmer Sam, even on 9 lap old hards, it probably has a slightly lower or very similar percentage to what Yusuf is carrying.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the delta between Wombat and Farmer Sam as well. It's not really dropping. It did drop, I think, about 4/10 that lap so far. But yeah, there's not enough time for them to catch. They're really wanting to get, probably a little bit more than that. Um, but yeah, for Cam, I think he just needs to stick with them, stay within the DRS, hopefully get towed along. Pray to God that one of these guys pick up a track limit penalty and he can get on the podium.
Well, he has landed successfully, ladies and gentlemen. A very butter landing right in down the inside. Rotates through turn 1 and sees himself into the top 2. Yusuf Goat only one position away from where he was when he came into the pit lane, decided to box later, use the mediums to potentially come back through the field and overtake. He's done it with 2 drivers. He started P4 when he left the pit lane. He's back up into P2. He's on 6 lap old mediums. He now has 24% in terms of tyre deg, and it's just slowly but surely going up against him at the moment. 5 seconds worth of, a gap and separation between him and his teammate, and he will bring the gap down. But with 10 laps remaining, it is quite a big ask if he wants to see this through.
Yeah, let's see how we go. I think it's going to be very tight. He needs to half a lap, more than half a lap half a second a lap pace compared to Wombat, and I think they're just about doing it. I can see Wombat down the road, but yeah, if they can tow each other along, use a bit of the
I
DRS,
mean, to be fair,
you never
last
know.
lap out, by the way, a 1:17.9 for the Mercedes driver of Mighty Wombat compared to a 1:16.9. So still 1 second quicker
Oof.
that last
Yeah.
lap, but as you can clearly see on the Delta, that time is starting to tick down and slow down on Yusuf Goat's side, because it's still at around 4.9 seconds. So we'll have to wait and see what this next sector has in store. But compared to Yusuf's fastest lap, which of course was set on these exact tires, he's now 6/10 slower than that through the first sector, and we have a Ferrari, unfortunately, on the grass, and that is Apollo
Cutting the
Pepsi.
grass again. Yeah, I think he lost it, and I think it was Jetman who just avoided him. So that was very lucky. But yeah, Apollo's just had a couple of little offs. Um, Cam's dropped from that DRS. Cam's dropping pretty quickly. He can't keep up with the guys in front, but P4 at the moment's good, so just needs to stick with that. The closest battle at the moment, Chill Pill on Junkyard. So that's maybe something to keep an eye on as well.
Well, there's a question that was posed to Jerabot by RK Gaming in the Twitch chat, and that is there no one else that can beat Yusuf? And clearly, Mighty Wombat is about to beat Yusuf by this stage, and clearly, and this was starting to really show in terms of pace. Farmer Sam coming back at Yusuf Goat and makes that move stick as the McLaren goes up to P2. But let's be honest in this scenario. Farmer Sam, realistically, on the hard compound tires, they degrade at such a slower rate compared to the mediums. And the problem for Yusuf Goat, I think he just boxed way too early. But it was too difficult, really, because if he stayed out, he would have lost more positions coming into the pit lane, and meaning by the time he got, let's say, back up into P2 or P3, he would have had a similar amount of degradation. So he was in a tricky position. Realistically, he just needed a bigger gap to begin with, and I think the best he'll probably get out of this is P2, P3. But Farmer Sam's tyres are clearly serving him a little better now, so maybe the McLaren can beat him out too.
Yeah, and I think for today, yeah, look, Yusuf's shown some dominance. It's a great drive coming from the back. But if we're looking at our lineup, really, Mighty Wombat's good. Farmer Sam's showing some great pace. Websy's not in here. Websy, the Tier 1 champion, he's very quick. And we haven't seen Meowsy. Meowsy, the old Ferrari driver, second place in Tier 1 last season. He might be just a little bit of a dark horse. Who knows? He might be sitting back, letting these guys race, and he might just come out and just take it away. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I mean, funnily enough, you say he's going to be a dark horse. I remember last season, we went into Spa, and I nicknamed him a dark horse. I, I believe that Meowsy just that he loves playing that role. He loves playing that underdog card and coming through the field, and not necessarily through the field, let's say, but it's just showing that pace when he hasn't really showcased it.
Yeah, I think in pre-season last season he had a couple of great qualifyings, a couple of decent races. I put his name down and took a bet on him, and same with Kingy, and they really impressed. So yeah, look, just you never know what can happen. So I think our lineup's pretty strong. Yusuf hasn't got it in the bag for this race. Yep, definitely very well done. But let's see what the other guys can offer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A few people fighting through the field. Believe that is Aston Martin. No, where is that? Oh, it's right near the front, back. Sorry, it's Dante and Apollo Pepsi. They've had a good little battle for a couple of laps now. I've just seen on the track map, and just going on board, it seems Apollo Pepsi getting the most out of it. He's on fresher softs compared to Dante. And they're actually gone for the soft compound tires. It's the first time we've seen it since qualifying. So of course, this kind of puts into perspective on how rare it is to see the C5s being used unless there was, let's say, a safety car to be released. This would be the time to put C5s on. So yeah, clearly, Dante just struggling with the grip now. 5 lap old softs, and he doesn't have his telemetry on, so I couldn't tell you how much deg he's got. But I guess to put it into perspective, Apollo Pepsi, he has 1 lap old soft compound tire, and his deg is already at 7%.
Yeah, they're going to fall off pretty quickly. While I was blabbering away, Yusuf's dropped out from Farmer Sam. He's 1.6 seconds behind. So those med tires are probably starting to show their age. The gap now between first and second is 3.5 seconds. Farmer Sam needs to do more than half a second a lap, and I just don't see it happening.
Well, actually, to be fair, by the time we reach the checkered flag, Yusuf will just be staying out of that puncture range, to be honest, because Yusuf Goat is on 11 lap old tyres. By the time we reach the end of lap 35, he'll have 16 lap old medium compound tyres. And from what SRC says, and SRC is a very reliable source, um, big shout out to Jorrit van Gan Gesberg, however you say it. He's a Dutch name. I know I'm Dutch. I should know how to say it, but it's a great guy, CEO of the company. Um, provides all this like tire information that I get to kind of ramble out in comms. Anyway, pretty much 17 laps is the puncture range for the medium compounder tire. So Yusuf, by the end of this race, will be pretty much on that line in terms of safe to use to potentially getting a puncture.
Yeah, and he's not pulling away from Cam now. If anything, his Cam's closing up a little bit. So, yeah, that's 17 lap old hards versus 12 lap old meds. I think they're definitely starting to fall off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Jan van Geffen was the name I was trying to think of. Sorry, but yeah, Yusuf Goat 2.6 behind. He's clearly starting to lose out more and more, and it kind of shows. His ERS is also pretty flat as well. So clearly not preserving in the slightest. His whole strategy for this second stint was to go onto the mediums and try and pardon me, overtake as much as possible. Farmer Sam, however,
Oh,
but no, it doesn't even matter because Yusuf Goat's now 3.4, and God knows he's not got the pace or the grip to try and close down that gap again. So the only situation where that may fall into his favor is if Farmer Sam increases that to 6 seconds. But yeah, no, Yusuf Goat currently 3.7 away, and Farmer Sam will stay in P2.
yeah, I think that P1 is definitely out of the question now. Even if Mighty Wombat might have had a little bit of a mistake, the time is dropping slightly, but it's just not going to happen. I don't think Farmer Sam's going to be able to catch. Yusuf Goat's dropping. It's now down to 4 seconds. So, yeah, I think Yusuf's just wants to hold it in there, try not to get a puncture, and hopefully secure P3.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a few people fighting out in front, and that is, of course, Dante and Apollo Pepsi. And traffic starting to approach for the Mighty Wombat Mercedes driver, as, of course, 2.4 ahead of Farmer Sam. And Farmer Sam, of course, has 3-lap newer hard compound tyres, but as we just explained, even though the time is slowly but surely coming down, the penalty will not, and that will be, put against the McLaren driver by the end of this race because he probably won't be coming into the pit lane, and you can't get rid of 3-second penalties in the pit lane either way. But yeah, no, the Mercedes starting to catch up on traffic, and these two continuing to fight away even with their older soft compound tyres. Polo Pepsi's running wide again, so the Aston Martin getting a good amount of momentum and an opportunity to potentially come back at them. And it seems blue flags now getting of the way for these two, as Mighty Wombat is the first to blue flag some of them.
Yeah, they're going to have to get out of the way for Farmer Sam as well, who's right up the tail of the Ferrari.
It is a shame that he's picked up this penalty because, some last lap excitement could have been on the cards. 1.9, nearly 1.8 now as well. So clearly the gap was coming down unless Mighty Wombat were to also pick up a 3-second time penalty. And he's been faultless this race realistically. I mean, to be on pole position, to, have the pace on his side. I mean, let's not forget Yusuf Goat did technically take provisional pole before disqualifying himself. But yeah, he took pole position. He did everything to absolute perfection, and now just simply reaping the benefits, keeping it nice and clean and safe for the most part, making sure to avoid the white lines and any track limits, and just make sure to give him the best opportunity at winning this race with Farmer Sam 1.8 behind.
Yeah, he's caught up, hasn't he? But yeah, look, 2 laps to go, 1.8 seconds. I just don't think it's going to happen, even without that 3 seconds.
I
So
mean, to
Yusuf's
be
definitely
honest, you
falling
you
back.
say that, but 117 325 for Mighty Wombat, Farmer Sam a 116 709. So the pace is on his side by quite a margin. It's just a shame he has the penalty.
Oh yeah, look, if you didn't have the penalty, I would have been biting my fingernails by now. But yeah, look, I think it's over. We've got look, the forecast telling me 85% chance of rain.
Yeah,
I
saying
don't
the
know if we're
same
gonna.
thing for me. Yeah,
Yeah,
oh, oh
I
my
just thought
god.
saw a few drops.
Oh my god.
Um,
It is it. Oh no, but penultimate lap of racing. Realistically, let's be honest here. By the
it
time,
is.
yeah, there's droplets. I'm sure the stream can see it. My capture card's pretty good in terms of capturing. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, no, the droplets are there. They're dropping on the McLaren's halo, so everyone's halo by this stage. But there is rain droplets, and we
Yeah,
have someone in the
Jetman
barrier.
spun.
Yeah, we have
Yeah, and he's
Jetman.
gone the wrong way. He got disqualified, so he had to wait, and he's got disqualified. So yeah, that it could be starting to cause some issues for some drivers here.
It's a bit late though. Realistically, what these rain droplets at this current stage will be doing is greasing up the circuit, so it will become quite greasy, and the traction won't be as strong because they're not getting as much friction between the rubber and the tarmac. But realistically, it's not a wet circuit; it's just a greasy circuit. And realistically, how late this rain is kind of coming into fruition, pretty much would sum up that no one's going to come into the pit lane, which you wouldn't expect anyway. Realistically, as long as they keep it pretty safe and stable, I doubt there'll be a change in position.
So Farmer Sam's caught Mighty Wombat's at 0.8 seconds. He's going to have DRS.
Yusuf's
Don't know
what
if he'll be
second?
able to make it,
He's
but
got but what's the point in coming into the pit lane because it's lap
yeah,
35
look,
and
I wouldn't.
35, so you can't even go for
Yeah,
fastest lap.
no, I think they're putting on inters, but I think that's a wrong decision. You just want to fight it out for one lap. It's a short lap. Um, it's really not going to make a huge difference, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's add some excitement to this, ladies and gentlemen. It's lap 35 of 35. It is the last lap of this race around the Hungaroring for Hungary for round 3 of preseason testing here in Inters Racing League. Now we have an Aston Martin of Dante just quickly going there. Big snap by the McLaren as he goes across the chicane. Does not pick up a penalty, or at least any further penalties. Now, of course, right now as we currently speak, Mighty Wombat will win this race and still holding that first position. And even if Farmer Sam were to get by, he would most likely still pick up the win. However, there is still circuit positions, and if you were to take away track limit penalties, which I'm sure will still be put into perspective, big snap by the McLaren, then it would have been a perfect opportunity for team principals to go, well, he may have got a penalty, but he did finish in first place. However, another driver will finish in first place with absolute consistency and absolute stability. It is Mighty Wombat who will win, not for the first time running, the Mercedes on top here in Hungary.
Yeah, it's a great drive. Farmer Sam getting from the back there. GLX Cam crosses the line in P3. Yusuf pitted for those set of inters. Don't think that was the right
Testing again.
decision.
So I think,
Yeah,
to be honest, Yusuf, no matter how you look at him, everyone knows him as a competitive driver, and he's one of those drivers where even if he does poorly in preseason testing, everyone knows what his real true pace is. He's going to be found in Tier 1, let's be honest, and yeah, he's going to be picked up by someone at some point during the draft.
yeah, and he's DNF'd as well, so he doesn't want the records to show the his pace. But yeah, look, great drive there from Mighty Wombat Farmer Sam, Yusuf Cam, great pace. Scotty starting from the back as well, P7. Great call there. Quiet cake as well. Good job. A couple of unlucky offs for I think Apollo and Dante there as well. So, but good to see them finish. It's good practice. Mixed conditions there. So yeah, a bit of rain right at the end of the race.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Farmer Sam, by the game, chosen as driver of the day. Ah, man, it's a bit of a tough one. Who would you go for DOTD?
Look, I've got a soft spot for Cam for his podium. And like I said, he's had a few unlucky races. So he's got my vote. But I think Mighty Wombat as well. He had a great race. He started from the start. Started from the front, finished at the front. Um, hard to pass him by. I know Farmer Sam went from the back, but yeah, probably between Cam and Farmer Sam for me. Sorry, Cam and Mighty Wombat.
Yep. Well, between those two, I think if I had to choose, personally, I think I agree with GLX Cam. I think he had an incredible race. Look, he didn't come through the field like he had done previously, but he had a fantastic race. He just kept it consistent. He didn't pick up any penalties as well, so he's a bit more of a reliable driver, and let's say compared to Farmer Sam or someone else who picked up a penalty, like for example Lil Sheldon with 19 seconds worth of penalties. So, look, I think reliability and just secure, safe driving gives him DOTD with a podium as well to follow.
Yeah, great job.
So, ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere because we do have interviews to follow after this with my fancy dancy new interview screen that the IRL team made, quote unquote, me.
Let me see if I can invite some of these guys into the comms box.
God, it does look good, doesn't it? Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, someone needs to get me on the Inters design team.
You are,
Oh
mate.
dear.
You've been added to the
Actually,
special
yeah, no,
Discord.
technically,
That's right.
technically, I am part of it now, aren't I?
So
Oh dear.
yeah, you can have a say along with our graphics master
Yep.
Tetris. So
Oh,
yeah,
no one's better than Tetris. That man is a legend.
he loves it. He loves it. I actually met up with Tetris over Christmas, New
Yep.
Year's, and he printed out a couple of the posters for me that my championship winning poster, my first win at Inters. So
Yes.
yeah, I've got those. I've just got to frame them. Got to get to IKEA and get some frames. So yep, that's how nice Tetris is.
What a just a genuine guy. Well, I'm hearing some Discord pings, so if I have a quick look, we can of course see Cam and Farmer Sam in at the moment, but of course we'll be waiting for our P1 finisher. That's if he decides to join us, the Mercedes driver. But I think while we wait, Kat, do you want to kick it off with Cam?
Yeah, Cam, congratulations, mate. P3. That was a great drive. Great quality, nice and high up. I think you were half a second or so off the pace, um, and basically stuck with the front runners throughout. No mistakes, no offs, no track limit penalties. It was just a great race all round, and finished on the podium. So well done, man. Tell us about maybe your lead up and what you've been trying and how you felt today.
Thanks for that. Yeah, just obviously on no traction now, so it's definitely interesting. But yeah, just did like 2 or 3 laps before the race started, so wasn't feeling too confident. But quality came along, and obviously, Sam and all the fast boys went straight to the back. But yeah, no, it was a good race, good clean race, as you said. Yeah.
Have you approached things differently? I know. Yeah, last season a few unlucky incidents. I think you started off the preseason as well. Yesterday I took you out, so yeah, I was hoping you'd have a good race. Have you changed any mindset, or are you just still doing the same thing?
I mean, because last season was my first one. It's just I wouldn't give up positions, I reckon. But this time, like I was in a call with Sam and Yusuf was coming on fresh meds. I'm like, no point fighting it. So pretty much just there's no point fighting something for one position if it really doesn't matter. So yeah, just stay more safe. Obviously, throttle control. Just yeah, be more safe in general, I guess.
There you go. There you go. TPs. Looking at finishing and not defending so hard when you know it's inevitable. So yeah, well done, Cam. Good job, mate. And I think we
Thanks,
voted
Kat.
for you for driver of the day as well. So yeah, good
Oh,
job.
nice. Thank you.
Looks like I've come back at the right time. So, moving on with the interviews, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Cam, congratulations on P3. Well and truly deserved. Farmer Sam, congratulations on P2. It looked like you were chasing down right near towards the end of Mighty Wombat, but that penalty took you out of any type of contention of that race win, and you finished off in P2. Of course, you never did end up catching him, but you definitely did try your best. Congratulations on P2. Talk to us about your race.
Yeah, decided to start out the bat today. Bit of fun, try and work on my racecraft on the overtakes. What's there and what's not. Got through the pat, pitted, and then I saw Cam and Wombat in front, and I was like, time to hunt them down, try and just catch them as best I can. Got to the last couple of laps. I went wide, lifted. Normally, you don't get a penalty for lifting. Did this time. Couple of laps later, I didn't lift, and I got a no warning for it. So I'm thinking this game's fantastic.
Yep, yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
but yeah, credit to Wombat for sticking it out.
Well, if you wanna.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, well done, Farmer Sam. Yeah, I think starting from the back, especially here at Hungary, where it's very tough to overtake and make your way through the field, finishing basically P2. You might have actually finished P1 on track, but I think with that late rain, I think you had a bit of a snap, so that missed the P1 finish on track for you. But P2, well done.
Yeah, nah, thanks, boys. If there was rain, if not, it's all ifs, but I'll take P2 from where I started, and yeah, it helps when, people don't make unrealistic overtakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best way of putting
Looking
it.
at
Yeah.
looking at a full-time seat. Any ideas where you might want to be drafted? Any TPs tickle your fancy, or any seat will do? What are your
Hey,
thoughts?
look, whoever wants a good laugh, you'll pitch me up, and we can have a great laugh together.
There you go.
It's for the laugh,
You're not
not for the
gonna
pace.
do the eval for Check It, are you? Check It
Oh,
wants people to do evals.
look, if Chetiv really wants me, he has to DM me. Anyone else, they're free to pick me. Chetiv has to DM me.
There you go, Check It.
Well, Farmer Sam, congratulations on what has been a very successful P2 in your favour. So, remember, for all team principles, it's about the good laughs, not about the pace. Kidding. Anyway, going into the next round, however, calendar-wise, of course, we'll quickly just flick that over for everyone in the Twitch chat to have a look.
Oh, we've also got Mighty Wombat,
Yeah,
our winner.
I know.
Sorry. Okay.
It's all good. I have
Sorry.
Discord open. Anyway,
Okay.
we got Zandvoort and Kota and Silverstone for next week for week 2 of preseason testing. But more specifically about Holland and going back to the Netherlands, how are we feeling for Zandvoort?
I good. I love that track. It's probably my favorite track on the game. So I might actually try that race and just see what I can actually do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, fantastic effort from you. Of course, technically challenging for all the viewers back there, as what we've had is quite a usual pattern with our circuit choices. Good for challenging the drivers, and Farmer Sam, congratulations on the P2.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Mighty
No
Wombat,
worries.
it is P1 in your favour. It is not the first time, of course, you've driven in preseason testing. It is, of course, your first win in preseason since we began on the Friday. But you got close in Saudi, not close enough, and you've been able to get the job done here in Hungary this evening.
Yeah, no, it worked out better this one. I still think I pit too early. Tires were just dead by the end. I was just watching Farmer Sam catch me. But yeah, it was still fun. Then the rain happened, and then it was just trying to stay on the track.
I must admit, that accent has just caught me off guard.
Yeah, well,
It's all
I
good.
was
American.
going to say it's going to be nice and early for you. What time is it? It's probably
It's
are you on the East Coast
almost
or West
midnight.
Coast?
West Coast,
No, the
almost midnight.
West Coast.
Yeah.
Not affected by the fires at all.
Unfortunately, not. Fortunately, I am
Good
not.
stuff.
I'm about
Good stuff.
different one state away, but I have family there, so keeping an eye on it for sure.
Alrighty.
But,
So I think I might have said in the Discord that you may not be a full time, but I'm just checking my notes. You are. You've asked me to change you from a reserve to full time. So TP's definitely keep an eye out for Mighty Wombat and sign him up. Even though he's in North America, the connection seems pretty good. Doesn't seem like there's any lag. So no complaints. So I think you'll be hot property for the TPs. Yeah. So well done with the win.
Thank you. That was going to be one of my questions if there was any lag from anybody, but didn't seem like it. So I had
No, even in the comms box, you can see them if they're jumping around. I think it was pretty good. So no concerns there. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, maybe just last question for me. Just the last few laps. Farmer Sam was catching up pretty quickly. You had that 3 seconds, but was the rain a blessing in disguise, or were you biting your fingernails, counting down the laps?
I'm biting on my fingernails. I mean, once he got the 3 second penalty, I eased off a little bit, especially when the rain hit, because I figured if I just let him go by if it was that close. But yeah, that rain was kind of both a blessing and a curse at the same time, because he had a snap, but I kind of did too. So it was it was fun.
Well, I
All right.
think,
Thanks a
yeah,
lot.
quite
Yep.
simply, a bit of radio sounds taking place. So I think, quite simply, congratulations on the P1 Mighty Wombat. A fantastic result on
Thank
your
you.
side, and yeah, hopefully to see future results from you going into Zandvoort.
Thanks, man.
Great job,
Well,
mate. Have a good night.
Kat, I think there's not much else to pretty much summarize, but that fantastic race from all drivers on display, but podium looking diverse and once again an intriguing dot point for all team principals looking to try and sign up a driver or two. So yeah, should be an interesting one ahead.
Yeah, look, it's been some great driving. There's been 3 races so far. We've got, I think you just showed previously, we've got some more races happening next week. So get into it, show the TPs what you've got. If you haven't signed up yet, please do. We're definitely going to have 3 tiers. We've got enough drivers signed up for 3 tiers. So Friday night, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon for our scheduled races. So yeah, get into it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from here in the comms box, it's time to say goodbye. It's a pleasure as always. We shall see you for the next round of racing when we go to Zandvoort in the Netherlands, where I was 2.5 weeks ago. I know, I miss it already. But commentary's here, so be happy for that bit. Either way, it's a pleasure as always. We shall see you next time. Cheers. Goodbye.